to Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Krista Gibson. I'm also the publisher of NewSpiritJournal.com. And we're all about making our spirituality practical. And we're entering into the summer months, and the summer solstice is upon us. And I thought, what a great time to invite Reverend Judith Laxer back. You'll recall we had her visit us for spring equinox, and what a great idea to have her back. Now, Judith is a modern-day mystic, and she's also the founding priestess of Gaia's Temple in Seattle, and that's an earth-based ministry in Seattle, Washington. She also has a private practice where she counsels people. She is a hypnotherapist, a shamanic practitioner, and a teacher of women's mysteries. She has written a book called Along the Wheel of Time, Sacred Stories for Nature Lovers. So Judith and I are going to visit about the turning of the wheel of the various seasons, and specifically about summer and how we can embody these energies and celebrate these energies in a really practical, grounded way. So let's see what Judith has to say. Hello, welcome, Judith.
Thank you, Krista.
So glad to see you again. Yes, we had you on the show for spring, and now we're going to celebrate summer.
It happens that fast, doesn't it?
I know. You can't believe how quick the time is going, but I guess that's why it's called the Wheel of the Year.
Exactly. Just keep rolling along.
That's right. So tell us all about, what is summer solstice? What does it mean? How can we incorporate it into our lives and practical ideas?
Sure. So the summer solstice is the longest day of the year, and it holds the polarity on the pagan wheel of the year to the winter solstice, which is the longest night. So we know that summer and winter are the most extreme seasons. Spring and fall are the transition seasons. But the summer solstice is the height of the solar year. And so therefore it's the longest day. And at the winter solstice, we're celebrating like the birth of the sun and the return of the light. And here at the summer solstice, we are celebrating the peak of the solar energy at the height of the solar year. So it's beautiful, and of course it's celebratory, and we all, especially here in the Northwest, really love the sun and the sunshine. So
yes.
It's always particularly happy to get to the summer solstice, you know.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And so in pagan theology, we view the sun as the divine masculine. And so now the divine masculine, in his energy of radiance and sort of electric warming energy, you know, it's the sun's warmth that coaxes the seeds from the shell and causes the great flowering to happen. And now at the summer solstice, it's really coming to that peak of that solar energy. And so the flowers are now starting to turn to fruit. I don't know if you keep a garden or have any fruit trees, but there's little apples and pears on my trees. The little baby grapes are coming up. So now we're starting to see the fruition of what the sun can bring forth.
Right.
Just to use the garden as a metaphor. And so in trying to emulate nature in our spirituality, in our spiritual path, we might ask ourselves, you know, how can we be like the sun? Or how are we like the sun?
Okay.
And in this season, what is it that we're radiating out there to the world?
Right.
Oh, I just something pop up on my screen here. I'm going to get rid of that. So there you go. Sorry about that. How can we emulate the sun? What is it that we're radiating out into the world? And how can we cause the fruition of what we have been tending in our own lives, and also in the life of the world and the greater good?
Right.
You know, because the sun doesn't just shine for us. The sun shines for the entire planet.
Everybody. That's right.
For everybody. So, the solar energy, like I said, is more electric and radiant because the sun has his own energy and shines from his source outward.
Right.
So the energy that we look at is, what is our own solar energy? How are we shining? And how is that going outward? Mm-hmm. So it's a very active time of the year. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's funny because it shows us how far away we've gotten from nature, that in the summertime we want to take a vacation and relax. And in the wintertime, we are heading into the most social time of the year, when in truth it should be the exact opposite. Summer is the time of activity and work, you know, and those who used to keep a garden and agriculture and taking care of the land, this was the busiest time of the year. As everything was coming in, we were canning and preserving,
Yep.
And in the winter, we're supposed to settle down for a long winter's nap. And, so we've come so far away from nature. But anyway, so at this time, we could ask ourselves, what are the actions that we want to take? Because this is a very proactive time. And so those actions, of course, if they're spiritual actions or the ways that we want to look into our spirituality, how can we amp that up? What, or any of the goals that we have set for ourselves. It's not a time to be thinking and dreaming and planning and scheming. It's a time to put those plans into action.
Ah, that's good to know. So what if somebody watching this goes, uh-oh, I didn't make any plans.
Make them
now
quick.
What?
Well, it doesn't really take very much, actually. I mean, what it mostly takes is just a consciousness around what's important to me. What do I want to see come to fruition?
Right.
So let's say that's something as simple as, and I don't mean to diminish it, but it could be, I don't really feel like I'm in the right career, or I'm not happy in this job, and I want to move into something that really speaks to my soul where I can really shine, right? That's my radiance. So then we just have to think, what is it that I love to do? What is it that I feel that I do well? And even if I can't find a job doing that, how can I put that into action in my life so my soul is satisfied by, being in alignment with what it's here to shine out in the world.
With that energy.
So, exactly, and that energy. So you don't have to spend a lot of time really planning, but just planning with no action.
Right.
It's going to get you there. So what does that mean? Let's say just using the same metaphor for the job. So do I start looking for another job? Do I get on LinkedIn? Do I talk to people and tell them I'm looking for a job in this particular arena, or this is what I really want to do? So that there's actual actions that we take. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Because you want to be using that solar energy at the height of the year for you to energize your thoughts and feelings and desires maxed out to the best you can. That's how we kind of align our individual lives with nature.
Right, right.
Which then becomes a spiritual path.
So it's action time.
It's
Get
action
busy
time.
in whatever it is that you're working on in whatever areas of your life. This is the time to actually do something about it, not just sit there and dream. We've already done that.
Right. We've done the dreaming, we've done the planting. Now it's time to be tending and actually doing the work of it.
So are there particular things people can do on the solstice or around this time of year that would be special?
Yes, I do think that there are a couple of things that I can suggest. One is, of course, to create your sacred space in whichever way that you do that, and decide what it is, the action that you're going to take, and then go ahead and take it. So, like, set aside June 20th is the day that I'm going to make that phone call. I'm going to, it doesn't really matter what it is. I'm going to finally clean out the fridge. I'm going to, whatever it is, that garage that's been bugging me. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it on the solstice, and I'm going to ask the sun to help me, energize me. And on this long day when I have lots of time, I'm going to utilize that. But in your ritual, because the sun is a star and it's so fiery, we use fire a lot in a ritual for this. So if there's a way for you to even start a fire in your fireplace at home, or your fire pit in your backyard, or go to the beach and start a bonfire there where it's safe, to celebrate the energy of fire and to really contemplate on how that is the fuel for our desires. And then for people who don't have a bonfire or a backyard fire pit, because there's lots of those, you can get one of those 7-day candles in glass.
Yes.
And light it on that day and keep it somewhere safe and keep that fire lit all day long as a metaphor for that fuel and that fire and that proactivity burning through your life. A lot of people will do that, and they can even decorate. So let's say you decide about a week before the solstice that you're going to start to pull the ideas together of the actions that you're taking. You might buy one of those plain candles and make a collage on the outside of it. On the solstice, actually light it on that day to ignite those actions, and that helps you kind of psychologically and spiritually step forward into taking the actions.
Right.
So that's one way, by the utilizing of fire,
Right.
because to represent that solar energy and heat. Another thing that I used to do, I don't do it so much anymore, but years ago, my spirit sisters and I would get up before dawn. We used to go up to the top of Gasworks Park to greet sunrise. And that was early. That's like 4 o'clock in the morning at this time, because the days are so long until you start to see the light come up. But it was just a magnificent thing to watch the sunrise. And then we would go to Golden Gardens and we would watch the sunset.
Oh, nice.
We stay up the whole day from sunrise to sunset to really feel the length of the day.
What a great idea.
Yeah, it is. You know, I'm older now, so
Right.
I don't like getting up so early in the morning.
Right.
Usually by 10 o'clock, you know, boom, I'm out. But
You stay up
but
till 10. Good for you. I don't always make it till 10.
Oh, amazing how life changes the longer you live.
It does, yes.
Yeah. But that's a great way also, and that's a very simple way. So let's say you decide you're going to get up before dawn, and even if you can't go somewhere where you actually watch the sunrise, you can see the dawn come up.
Right.
You can light your candle to represent your actions.
Right.
You can make sure that candle stays lit all day long, and then once it's sunset and dark, you can extinguish the candle. And that's a simple little ritual that just about anybody can do.
I like that one.
To honor the solstice. Yeah.
I think I'll do that one.
Yeah, that's one suggestion that I have. And then another is a beautiful one where you can create a mandala out of flower petals. And it's fleeting, right? It doesn't last because it's just flower petals and they don't last too long, especially once they're off the flower. But it also speaks to the fleetingness of time. Right. And while we won't start to see the days begin to shorten, you know, for a couple of months, you know, still the rest of June, July, and August, it's pretty late. But in fact, the sun begins to diminish after the solstice. That is the longest day. So a few minutes every day, shorter and shorter. And so when you create a flower mandala, you really can contemplate on how these events occur, but they don't last. And how important it is to stay present with each one as it happens, because there it goes. Got to take it in while it's here, you know.
Right. And so when you do this mandala with the flowers, I mean, do you leave it there any length of time, or?
They leave it like overnight, or, you know, I make it on my grass out in my circle in my backyard.
Gotcha. Okay.
I usually stay there until I mow again, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. When you did that, it was interesting because what came to mind for me, and I'm sure you've seen this, the Tibetan monks who do those sand mandalas, very intricate sand mandalas. Right. And there was this one show, I forget, but it was in the show that they were doing this. And then they destroy it. Right. And you watch them make all this intricate, and then they just blow on it and it's all gone. And showing that transitoriness of life. And I remember when I saw it, I almost started crying.
I know.
It touched me so profoundly. It was like, wow, and that's how my life is. You know, I build and do all this stuff, and then it's gone. So I don't know that fits in, but I just thought I'd share. That came to my mind.
No, it's a perfect segue for what I wanted to say next, actually, about the solstice, which is something that we don't often enjoy really focusing on, but it's true, which is this. At the winter solstice, we are celebrating the return of the light. And kind of in the stories that we tell is that the great cosmic mother is giving birth to the sun. So he's like the sun babe, and he grows a little every day until the equinox when he's kind of like a toddler. And then at Beltane, he becomes a young man, and then he becomes the sun king at the summer solstice. And that's at the peak of his power. What we don't like to think about at the summer solstice is that if he's at the peak of his power, he's going to start diminishing now. So really, in a way, we, you know, at the winter solstice, his birth is very much in mind, in our consciousness. At the summer solstice, at the edge of our consciousness, is his death.
Right.
And, you know, hopefully like you said, it moves you so much to think of how temporal our lives are and how fleeting these important, holy moments are.
Right.
But hopefully that also heightens our experience of them.
Exactly.
So, then we really enjoy every moment.
Right. And really pay attention to every moment.
Right.
Because we so often don't. I mean, I don't know about you, but, I get busy doing something or starting my day. And the next thing you know, it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I say, well, where did the day go? And it's like, yes, I was very involved in what I was doing, but how aware was I of what I was doing?
Exactly.
That witness consciousness thing coming in there. And so I think you're speaking to that too, which is, we get so busy, we forget to be aware of what we're doing, and it's us doing it, and our whole participation with the universe, in terms of what we're doing. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why I love following the Wheel of the Year this way.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we want to be as present as we can moment to moment.
Right.
But, 8 times a year, approximately every 6 weeks, we stop and we focus in on where we are in season, what's happening in nature, how we can emulate or relate to it, to stay connected to the earth that we're living on in the cosmos.
Right.
And it's, keeping those Sabbaths holy is just a beautiful, beautiful practice and very, very simple.
Right.
Most of them are really simple because we're engaged with nature anyway. For most of us, it's more about the weather. Is it raining? Is it cold? Is it sunny? Is it hot? Do I need a jacket or an umbrella? But when you look at it in terms of the energy and the life cycle, it really deepens your understanding of life on Earth. And it can be just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yeah.
And if people are interested, I know I mentioned when I introduced you, I mentioned your book, but
Yes.
you have things in your book that can help people with summer solstice as well.
Yes, exactly. The summer solstice story in my book is, all of the stories in my book are fictional.
Right.
And that one in particular gets a little erotic, which a lot of people are like, whoa, they were surprised when they read that, But what I did was I kind of took what we believed happened at that time and kind of brought it into a modern context. So I don't necessarily know. I mean, it's about a whole community doing a ritual, and I don't know very many communities who are living in that way.
Right.
So I can't necessarily say that story is going to be, go here and do this ritual. In fact, the book wasn't intended that way. The book was intended for people to read about how others can be living their spirituality Sabbath to Sabbath. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
to inspire them. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have to necessarily do it. Now, what are you doing for summer solstice?
Well, my ministry, Gaia's Temple, is offering Sabbath that's open to the public, so everyone is welcome, and that's going to be right on the solstice, which is June 20th this year, June 20th, 2017. It'll be at 7 p.m. at Ravenna Park, and we ask a $15 donation, and then we make it a potluck also. And it's a beautiful celebration. Karina Frenzel, who is a priestess of mine, is going to be heading that up, and there are other members of our community who participate. And they're still in the planning stages, so I don't know exactly how that's going to be playing out. But we are focusing this year on honoring the wise, mature masculine. Like into the wise, sage masculine, because we really need that in our world these days.
Yes, we do. Now, is this for men and women, or just for women?
Yes, everyone is welcome. Gaia's Temple is open to everybody. In fact, we just had our service yesterday. We had a very early Father's Day service yesterday, and we honored all the beautiful men who are, just willing to take a look at what's going on in the world today and their role in it. Right. And willing to make some changes, even though it's very, very new terrain for all of them.
Right.
Right. We did a beautiful honoring of all the men. So yeah, it's open to everybody, and we always have a good time. It's serious fun is the way that I say it. Like it's very intentional, but we don't get too serious because we want that.
And then, is there something on a website where people can find out more about you and about this event, or?
Yes, on the Gaia's Temple website, which is GaiasTemple.org, GAIAS temple.org. There's an event page, and you can go there to find out the information about the Sabbath. And then my personal website is JudithLaxer.com, and you can read all about me and my work there and all that good stuff.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing your wisdom with us. And just so everybody knows, it's our intention to do this again at
Yes.
The fall equinox,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then winter solstice. So we're going to honor that through this show. We're going to honor it. And so we'll be inviting you to come back and talk to us about that season as well.
Thank you. I look forward to it. Thank you so much, Krista.
You bet. Have a wonderful day and enjoy summer solstice.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks, Judith, for some great ideas about how we can celebrate summer solstice. And I realized I wanted to add one as well. That's a great time, the different major holidays like that or major turning of the seasons, it's a great time to do a special reading for yourself, like a tarot reading or runes or angel cards, whatever oracle you might have, and kind of ask it to give you information about where you are right now, where you're headed, ideas, ways you can support yourself in whatever you're attempting to do, whatever actions you want to take, and to do one for yourself or go to a reader. I do tarot, and there's lots of people who do different kinds of readings, but it's a great way to celebrate these turnings of the seasons, is to get some kind of a reading for yourself. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Judith, for being here, and I wish everyone a very happy summer solstice. And remember, keep it real.